Hello. Hi. It's been a minute. This setting might seem new because it is. Um, you may know, you may not, you may not care, whatever. But hi, I'm Riley. This is my channel. I haven't been doing anything for a minute. And I've been absent from my group channel, the Omnibus Collectors Network, because I've been in the middle of a move. Um, my wife and I, had lived in our house for what was it, almost 3 years,
Mhm.
almost 3 years, and we decided my wife wanted to move back to the Dallas Fort Worth area to be closer to her family. And here we are in a temporary apartment while we are currently awaiting for our new home to be built. So I've got this very, as she put it, titillating background behind me of a blank wall and a table. I don't know what you can see. Because all of my books, aside from the stuff that I'm about to show you today, and then a bunch of my manga because I'm reading through all that stuff right now, are in boxes, awaiting to be freed so that they can breathe once again and I can admire my collection on the walls. So we're here temporarily until hopefully mid-September. Um, and then I'll have some people help me to move all my stuff. I'll unload, and I'm sure we'll do a nice video showing the new library off. I'll get new shelves, all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. But I'm here right now where I am in the temporary apartment to, I guess, give an update, A, which we've done, and then B, to talk about some books that I bought. So right now I'm going to talk about these stacks of books I have right here. This is basically the past 2 months worth of books that I've bought, mostly aside from like one volume, is all from In Stock Trades. My sponsor over at the other channel, instocktrades.com. I tend to order the vast majority of my books from them. They're fantastic. They typically have prices that beat anyone else for brand new volumes, and they ship their books very securely. And I could not be happier with them. So anyway, I'm here to show off these books. These are all Western books, so DC, Marvel, Dark Horse, Image, stuff like that. No manga. I'm not talking about any of the manga that I've bought in the last month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever. So let's just get started. Top of the stack, I'll go through these. I like to go from small to large. I've got one paperback from Dark Horse. This is the new printing of the Mask Omnibus Volume 1. This, I believe, is going to be one of two. This initial volume collects the first trilogy, The Mask Returns, and The Mask Strikes Back, written, of course, by John Arcudi, Arcudi, or whatever, Kid Cudi, that you might know from the Bprd books. He wrote the often praised, that's a joke, Thunderbolts, Fight Bolts storyline, and then artwork from Doug Mahnke, who is popular for a bunch of his DC work, including Green Lantern. Of course, a lot of you might know the character, as do I and my wife, from the Jim Carrey movie, and there was also a cartoon that spun off of that. I've read the first miniseries in this book. It was really fun, and I'm looking forward to read the rest of this sometime soon. Next book on the stack. This one is actually not too new of a release. X-Force Volume 3, Ends/Means. This is the last volume of the Simon Spurrier run. It collects issues 11 through 15. I bought this because it was on sale at IST with their damaged books, and it is one of the more damaged books I've ever received from them because it's not torn, but it has kind of some mess on the spine here. But it looks good for a book that I got for a few bucks. I'm really happy with the purchase. Most of their damaged books are not in too terrible of condition. This was a really fun run, by the way. Really great artwork, a great, interesting team. Cable, Phantom X, Domino, some other characters are in there. Really good stuff. Moving on, more Marvel stuff. Amazing Spider-Man, New Ways to Live. This is kind of the follow-up to the Amazing Spider-Man, what is it called? Brand New Day books. They had it's like 3 or 4 of these thick Spider-Man paperbacks focusing on the Brand New Day era when they had the Spidey Brain Trust, where there was multiple writers coming in writing multiple stories. This one follows up on that and collects Amazing Spider-Man 602 to 611, as well as a bunch of minis and one-shots that took place around that same time. Following this would be when the series goes into the Gauntlet storyline, which is kind of leading towards the whole wrap-up of that Brain Trust era before Dan Slott took over for Spider-Man big time. So we should be seeing a few more of these thick Spider-Man books to bridge the gap until we get to big time, and I'm excited about that because I was a big fan of the Gauntlet era of books. This one collects a couple of really good storylines, though, including the Black Cat storyline from the cover. Next, Secret Avengers by Rick Remender, complete collection. This collects issues 21.1 and 22 through 37 of Secret Avengers, all written by Rick Remender with various artists like mostly, I think Matteo Scalera does a lot of the artwork in here, but it also has really great stuff by Gabriel Hardman. This not only is a great ending to Secret Avengers, but this is a great piece of the tapestry of all of Rick Remender's work at Marvel, as it picks up some plot lines that he worked with on previous stuff like Uncanny Avengers. I was really happy that they came out with this in a nice, thick, complete collection. It complements the Ed Brubaker Secret Avengers collection on the shelves. And I'm hoping that they'll do something else for the stuff between those two by Ellis and Spencer. Next, Marvel paperback, I've got X-Men Onslaught Aftermath. Might not seem like much, but this collection is actually pretty integral because for a collector, this has the last chunk of issues that we did not have previously collected. Correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm sorry if I am, but that has not been previously collected in any sort of paperback or hardcover. So this is Uncanny X-Men 338 through 340 and X-Men 58 through 61, as well as annuals and some other stuff. That's the main bunch of issues that's in this. So this bridges that gap right after the Onslaught Omnibus or the Onslaught paperback edition. So that's why this is a pretty exciting collection for a lot of X-Men collectors. Like I said, it was the last piece of that puzzle. I'm excited to finally get it on the shelf, but it's not going to be for a few months. But once I do, it'll be nice to have everything out there. All right, next, I initially passed on this book, but I decided to go ahead and pick it up. The Death of Wolverine Complete collection. I have the oversized hardcover of Death of Wolverine that collects the main 4-issue miniseries, but this complete collection also includes the Weapon X Program 1 through 5, the Logan Legacy 1 through 7, and then a few one-shots as well that deal with the Death of Wolverine. Of course, this is kind of important of a storyline right now because they just did the Return of Wolverine miniseries, bringing Logan back into the Marvel Universe. I really personally enjoyed the little series, and the tie-ins were pretty interesting as well. But the main reason that I decided to pick this up, even though I have the hardcover, is because recently they released the companion. The companion, though, this is the one that I really wanted. This has the entire 20-issue Wolverines storyline that Charles Soule did. That was mainly the follow-up to the Death of Wolverine. So that featured all of the other Wolverine characters like Sabretooth, Daken, X-23, and stuff like that in a storyline that featured them doing things falling out of Logan's death. So this was a cool collection. I'm glad that this came out. I would love to see both of those collected together in one massive omnibus, but until then, these are good. And I've got this Iron Man Epic collection. I haven't bought many of the Iron Man Epics, but this one, for some reason, called to me. It is the Return of the Ghost. It's because it's Layton and Michelini. That's why. Because Layton and Michelini have one omnibus, and then there's a gap between their first and second runs, and this is collecting part of that second run. So I was excited to see this come out, and it does have the nice 90s armor as well that you can see. I was a big fan of that. That's what he wore through the cartoon series. So nice Epic collection there. Another Epic collection, this one being Wolverine. This is volume 2. It's been a long wait, but we finally have Back to Basics, collecting issues 17 through 30 of the main Wolverine series, as well as the Scorpio Connection and Jungle Adventure one-shots. This one's really cool because if you have all the other thick Wolverine books, like I do myself, it leads right up to the first Larry Hama volume that came out several years ago. So this is a real nice book. It collects material that's already been in trade before, but now you get the nice edition that matches on the shelf with your other books.
You're at 10 minutes, by the way.
All right, next paperback. I've got The Hulk by Mark Waid and Jerry Dugan. This is the only book I think that's not from In-Stock Trades. Actually, Fariha gave this or sent this to me. I bought it from her because she found it for a really good price. I really enjoyed this run. This follows from Indestructible Hulk by Mark Waid. And the rest of the series after the first few issues is written by Jerry Dugan. Jerry Dugan introduces a new Hulk character called, Professor Doc Green. Sorry, Doc Green. And Doc Green is like, he's very smart, but tactically so, and he's very driven to basically get rid of every other gamma-powered character. So it features a big storyline where Hulk is taking down all the gamma-irradiated heroes and villains. Very interesting. I really liked it, and it led into more of like the Hulk storylines we've been having for the past few years. So this is a great book. I do recommend it. And then the last paperback, Gambit, Thieves World. I don't know much about this story, but it does collect the 12-issue series by John Layman, and it's illustrated by George Janty, not by Greg Land, as the cover shows, thank gosh. So there's one more Gambit Complete Collection coming out this week, actually, as I film this, King of Thieves, and that's the entire Asmus collection, the like Marvel Now series. So I'm really excited to pick that one up because I've only got the first out of 3 volumes, so it's going to be nice to have them all in one. And then moving on, I've got some hardcovers. First from Dark Horse is Bprd Hell on Earth. This is the 5th hardcover, which is the final for that series. I have not yet read any of Hell on Earth. I've been saving until this volume came out. I really loved Plague of Frogs, so I'm excited to continue that storyline here in this volume. And also from Dark Horse, I've got Harrow County, the 2nd library edition by Cullen Bunn with Tyler Crook on art. This is a really great horror series, as you can tell by the skinless dude on the front. I really need to reread it. I never finished it, but I need to reread it because I kind of forgot what happens for a good chunk in the middle of the series. So I'll look forward to rereading this once the whole series is in library editions. And then I've got a couple more oversized hardcovers that are not from the big 2 publishers. Exo Manowar Volume 1 by Matt Kent. I have not read any of this series. I've read the old Venditti Exo Manowar and really liked it. And I really like Matt Kent, so I'm really looking forward to this one. And finally, Paper Girls, the Deluxe Edition, Volume 2 by Brian K. Vaughan with Cliff Chang on art. This is a really fantastic story that has been compared a lot to stuff like Goonies and Stranger Things. It's an all-female group of paper girls. They deliver papers, and all of a sudden they launch into this adventure with a lot of really timey-wimey stuff. Excuse me. And on the cover, it looks like we have an Ava unit from the Genesis Evangelion, but it is not. But it's a good series. Moving on, I'm going to do the oversized hardcovers and omnis from DC. First up, this one is pretty much brand new, Detective Comics Rebirth Deluxe Volume 4. This wraps up the entire run by James Tynion IV. This was a really fantastic run. I do hope that they continue and do more of the series after this in hardcover as well. If they don't, I'll be sad. But James Tynion's run, either way, deserves to have its own omnibus because it was a fantastic run. All right, and next I've got Promethea, the Deluxe Edition, Volume 1. This collects issues 1 through 12, so I believe that is the first half of the series by Alan Moore with J.H. Williams III. This is one that I've been wanting to read for a really long time, but never got around to it, and now that DC has decided to release this 20th Anniversary Deluxe Edition, I thought it was the perfect time to jump in. As well, Promethea has appeared in the main DC universe recently, so I'm interested in seeing her past. Also, J.H. Williams' artwork is fantastic. Can't wait to see some of it from 20 years ago on that series. Speaking of Alan Moore, I've got another big ol' Alan Moore book here, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen Omnibus, the Jubilee Edition. This collects the entire first 2 series as well as the Black Dossier. I've never read any of the League books either, so this is going to be a nice new experience for me. I am familiar with a lot of the literary characters that appear throughout those, so that's going to be a positive. Either way, I've been waiting a long time to finally read this, and just like with the last one, I'm glad that they released this new edition because it gave me a good reason to jump on and buy it. And the last DC book is Sandman the Omnibus Volume 3. This collects all of the supplemental stuff from the Sandman series, including the Death miniseries, the recent Overture miniseries, and a bunch of other stuff that is related to but not part of the main run. This got announced a while ago. I think it was delayed a few times to the point that I almost thought it was going to get canceled, but we finally have it. It looks beautiful. It looks just like the other 2 volumes, so it will go very nicely on the shelf. Has that leather-bound look with the embossing on the spine, the black pages, and everything. Very fantastic looking book. I'm excited to have this on my shelf along with the other 2 whenever I get to unpack those books. Moving on to Marvel, I do have one oversized hardcover. This is Donny Cates' run on Doctor Strange. This collects his entire run, which was 381 through 390, as well as the 4-issue Damnation miniseries that kind of acted as the end of this, as well as a follow-up to Secret Empire, strangely enough, by Nick Spencer. This was a really fun run. It had Loki taking over this as the Sorcerer Supreme. It had the whole Damnation event, which was a lot of fun. A lot of great artwork from Gabriel Hernandez, Walta, Nico Enriquez, even Fraser Irving has at least an issue in here that has that infamously bad image of Peter Parker, making that really weird face in there. Overall, though, I really enjoyed this run. I was happy to see them give it an oversized edition. Next is the second volume of the Earth X trilogy, Omega. This is kind of an alternate future version of the Marvel Universe by Alex Ross and Jim Krueger. I have not read the first one yet. I was planning on keeping it out of my boxes so that I could read it during the interim between Old House and New House, but I forgot to leave it out, and now it's packed in a box and I don't know where it is, so I guess I'll just wait to read these. Then I got the third Deadpool Mini Bus. These Mini Bus, of course, have been collecting all of the Deadpool miniseries from the last few years. This one has Mrs. Deadpool and the Howling Commandos, Deadpool vs. Thanos, Deadpool and Cable split second, Deadpool vs. Gambit, Deadpool Too Soon, and Deadpool Too Soon by Jerry Dugan, Tim Seeley, Riley Brown, Fabian Nicieza, Ben Acker and Ben Blacker, Josh Corrin, and a bunch of different artists. I've read most of the material in this. I have not read Too Soon, and I have not read Split Second, so I'm excited to be able to get to read those. I've been really enjoying these minibus volumes. They're nice, small, thin omnis, so they're not too unwieldy. And the miniseries that they release for Deadpool are always really fun. There's definitely enough minis following the ones in this book to already do a 4th one, so I'm excited to see whenever they do that one as well. And then finally, I got 2 books that are really timely right now because of Endgame having just come out. The first one is the Thanos Wars Infinity Origin Omnibus. I know that this does double dip a lot with the Guardians of the Galaxy Solo Classic Omnibus, but this has everything that's integral to Thanos' story leading up to the material in the Infinity Gauntlet Omnibus that Jim Starlin wrote. So basically everything Captain Marvel leading up to the death of Captain Marvel, and it also collects his run on Warlock as well as a few other things. So if you're a fan of the character, if you want to know what happened with Thanos and what happened leading up to the Gauntlet storyline, this is a great book to get. And I did go with the regular cover and not the Starlin cover. I actually think the regular one is pretty cool in comparison. And then also related is the Infinity War Omnibus. This one is one thick book. It collects the entire Infinity War storyline as well as every single tie-in. I think every single tie-in. If I'm wrong about that statement, then I'm sorry, but it does collect a lot of stuff. It's really heavy and kind of hard to hold up. It's thick with 3 C's, honestly. That's really ridiculously thick. So this is the follow-up to the Infinity Gauntlet storyline. So now we have this, the one I just showed, and Infinity Gauntlet in Omnibus, making a nice little trio of books on the shelf. In this storyline, we of course see Adam Warlock, who is featured on the spine here, and his other personality, the evil Magus, go head-to-head against each other, and they also create doppelgangers of basically every hero and villain. I don't know, it's been a while since I read it, like at least 7 years since I read this, last time I read this. but they make doppelgangers. That's where the spider doppelganger comes from. That was part of Maximum Carnage. And there's this all-out war between the real characters and their doppelgangers. So I was a big fan of this. This was written, of course, by Starlin. It was his second part of his original Infinity trilogy, and this is followed up pretty soon thereafter by Infinity Crusade. Infinity Crusade, I'm hoping will also get an omnibus edition, but there are way too many, in my opinion, tie-ins to make one volume, so it might have to be spread into a couple, possibly. I don't know. That's not anything that I would know anything about, but it would go on my wish list for sure. So that's it. That's the last book. Oh, it's so heavy. That was the last major release that I got. And now looking up into the next month, there are a few more big releases coming out that I'm excited about. If I don't know, I was going to say if you want me to do any reviews of stuff, then let me know. But as of right now, most of my books are packed away, so it's kind of hard for me to do reviews of anything but these books right here. But I'm in the middle of reading a lot of different manga series that I've been holding out on for a while. So I'm thinking that in the interim, since I have most of my books packed up, I might use the channel to do some manga reviews of the series that I read as I read them. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was informative. I hope the quality is good too, because my wife did go out and buy this brand new camera with a boom mic attached to it. So I'm hoping it sounds and looks really nice. Otherwise, I will see everyone next time. Hopefully
5
sooner.
months.
Yeah, no, well, I would joke that it's going to be 5 months, but you've been kind of forcing my hand to do things faster. So I imagine it will not be 5 months from now. Anyway, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Check out the Omnibus Collectors Network. I'm on there. I will now be on there again regularly now that I have a regular work schedule again. Pretty much every Thursday night and maybe on Mondays. So yeah, check us out over there. Check out the Facebook group, the Omnibus Collectors Comic Swap and Community. And I will see y'all next time.
Subscribe.